Peach. I could eat a peach for hours. Please. Kiss me.
Donnie,
Linda?
Donnie, you're hosting this. You're supposed to introduce us.
Linda, I need to think about my whole life before I do this.
You need to drink about your whole life before you do this.
And I'm a drinking.
What?
We dropped you off at the Schick-Shagel Hospital, and you freaking thumbed a ride home, you bastard.
Look, I just want to write my screenplay, all right? It's going to be awesome. I'm taking courses. I know what I'm doing.
But you have to have that coffee and a muffin first, that Irish coffee.
Yeah.
And
I
by
need all
muffin,
the
I mean
Irish.
Bacardi 151.
Are you whacking
so
off to
well.
Meryl Streep's pictures again?
Hey, she invaded my sex dreams, okay?
Oh, you got yourself a silk wood? Is that what you're saying?
Sweet Jesus. Okay, I think I can do this now.
Okay.
Greetings and salutations. This is Cage's Kiss, the ultimate Cage cast where we discuss each of the National Treasure's cinematic masterpieces in his life. And we also try to glean whatever kernels of wisdom we can from his character this week. I am Donald Kaufman.
I guess I'm just Adrian. I don't fit into your little fantasy world.
I'm Linda, but this week you can call me Charlie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I really respect you.
Our listeners probably want to know what the fuck we're talking about.
Let them wonder.
There's nothing
It's
more
about Nicolas Cage, people. Put it together.
There's nothing more precious than a sense of wonder.
I wonder what this rash is on my knee. I could have a doctor find out, but that would move the sense of wonder.
I had this rash on my knee, and now I can't feel my leg because I had no friends to tell me that I should get this checked out by a doctor.
It climbed up my thigh and took one of my testicles.
And that's adaptation.
Yeah, speaking of testicles, adaptation.
Yeah.
We get Cage, two Nicolas Cages in a fat suit with awesome hair.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, this is one of the rare times I would seriously say with the rest of you, he looked like he was trying to be his best Steve Guttenberg.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my god.
It just feels like a Weekend at Bernie's type
It was
thing.
like
We're
a
hey, we had
planetary
him.
equilibrium.
Yeah, it's like we had Gutenberg ready to go, but he's gone. And Nick Cage like, I can Goots this. Like, you can Goots? He's like, I'm Goots to go.
I'm gonna become him.
And that's the name of the making of book of this movie, Goots to Go.
The Gutenberg Bible.
Speaking of horrendous prophecies, it's 2003 now, everybody.
And yeah, so this movie is Adaptation, directed by Spike Jones.
Spike
Yeah.
Jones.
And it came out on Valentine's Day in 2003. At least that's went into general release and got out of that stupid ass limited release that's only for losers.
Best date movie ever.
Yeah.
And
Makes you want to date your twin brother.
so yet again you get like a team up with Charlie Kaufman writing and Spike Jones directing.
And they were a good team because, Michel Gondry, like, he's a trooper about filming Spike Jones scripts and Spike about Kaufman scripts, but it's not always that Being Human movie. I was kind of disappointed with that one.
They're both damn good.
Yeah, they're I mean, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, that's a good one, definitely.
Yeah.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind for the George Clooney, like that's, no complaints there.
Mm.
And I really liked the one that Charlie Kaufman directed, Synecdoche, New York. Did you see that one?
Oh, I haven't.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's a little bit like this movie, except on steroids and acid, and a lot more money.
Check it out.
The movie's a metaphor for itself, kind of like that Danny Aiello movie, The Pickle. Only it's a metaphor for itself in a good way, unlike that Danny Aiello movie, The Pickle.
Aww.
No. So Adaptation cost $19 million, and it made $32 million. You know, so it didn't do boffo box office, but that's because it's good.
Yeah.
Good movies don't make money. That's the lesson.
Mhm.
It opened behind stuff like the Ben Affleck Daredevil. And and Shanghai Nights, and that gigantic piece of shit, The Recruit with Al Pacino, which also had Colin Farrell.
Tawanda.
Yeah, no. If you went Valentine's Day 2003, you're like, which Colin Farrell movie should I see? Should I see the one where he has the crosshairs tattooed on his forehead, or should I see the one where he's an American accent and Al Pacino runs circles around him? Paycheck.
CIA.
Give me a paycheck. Ooh-ah. CIA. Ooh-ah. Might be a traitor.
So Cage was actually up for an Academy Award for this.
Yeah, this is kind of like an Oscar trifecta right here, actually.
Yeah, it was actually it was amazing competition that year because they had Daniel Day-Lewis for Gangs of New York.
Yeah, he was good, but the movie wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. Jack Nicholson for About Schmidt, where
Oh yeah, that's another
you
good
see
one.
Kathy
Yeah.
Bates boobies. Michael Caine
Like you always wanted to.
in The Quiet American. And
I let you down, Master Bruce. I let you down. She was only 16 years old.
unfortunately, for some ungodly reason, the winner that year was Adrian Brody
For the jacket?
for The Pianist.
Yeah.
Oh.
The pianist.
The
What, really?
Pianist.
They didn't want to give a fuckload of Oscars to the jacket? Biggest fucking
Yeah.
turd in history.
Go figure.
Adrian Brody hasn't even heard our podcast yet, and yet he's convinced he's better than us.
Ugh.
But
Fuck you goddamn wanker prima donna.
Yeah. Does he spend all day on IMDb like we do? I don't think so.
I IMDb in my sleep, thank you.
hey, I don't actually spend a lot of time on IMDb. I go like deep into the fucking research.
I
read
IMDb
books.
used to be a good resource. IMDb used to be a good resource for trivia because things had to be approved.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, nah, fuck it, we'll let the crazies out. And so you get trivia like, it's like, did you know that the name of Adaptation also refers to adaptation?
Yeah.
Did you know that the name of the character Charlie Kaufman is the screenwriter Charlie Kaufman? Did you know that? and it'll be like, did you know that the movie is 90 minutes long? And it's like, these things are trivia, you fucking turd! What the?
Did you know that Hollywood Video and Blockbuster Video existed at the same time?
I didn't even know that before. It blew my...
I didn't
And
know.
you'll see the approval ratings for the trivia things, and some people will have thumbed them up. You're like, oh, good
Yes.
to know, bro.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of trivia you can find on the internet, and not necessarily just on Cage's Kiss, I know you guys are particular. Spike Jonze's real name is Adam Spiegel.
Yes.
And dude does a lot of music videos. He only directed 4 films in his 20-year career, like Being John Malkovich and Her and Where the Wild Things Are. And he got his start making skateboarding videos.
And his brother is Sam Spiegel. He gets a special thanks at the end.
Are they related to
Yeah,
Scott
yeah.
Spiegel?
I hope so.
Or Spiegel?
Or
Birthday present.
But apparently Cage was pretty salty about not getting the Oscar that year because Meryl
Well,
won.
You think he would have got it since he looks exactly like he did in Leaving Las Vegas. It's like, this is his Oscar look, you know, where he's got his hair froed up a little bit and he's balding. She thinks I'm pathetic. She thinks I'm fat and pathetic. Like,
You're fat and pathetic.
if you were gonna give him the Oscar for anything in the 2000s, it would have to be this one because
Yeah.
like he's not really sad old man Cage, you know. And
You know-
and he's not trying to be like sex symbol Cage. you know,
Well,
like
and I
action
think he
star
did a pretty
Cage.
goddamn good job at it too.
He
Yeah,
really
no,
did.
he
His
creates
scenes,
two
especially with her in
characters.
the elevator, were very fucking cringy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's it is the bit where he meets the waitress at the Denny's or whatever the hell it is. You know, and
Judy
then-
Greer.
and
Oh,
it's-
yeah.
Orchids are so sexy. Let's see what's on back. You know, and you cut to him wanking and his brother bursts in. It's like I gotta just love it. It's like oh man, sad wanking writer guy. It's like they filmed my life.
Well, also that year, so Meryl Streep won for Best Actress, and Chris Cooper
I
won
don't
for
usually
Best
like
Supporting.
her, but you know, you gotta take your head off to her. For this
You
one, too.
shut your whore mouth, Adrian.
Look, no, wait, no. Usually, okay. So her getting an Oscar for this is fine with me because it's not like her usual films which are entitled like "Give Me an Oscar" parts 1 through 10.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
You know, come on now, let's be a little bit real. Meryl Streep kind of does those.
Yeah, is there a drive-through where I can pick up my Oscar? Thank you.
What's that rattling around in back? Oh, it's just all my Golden Globes. You know, they just pile up. Oh, that's what I got from Cannes.
I love you, Meryl. But also, Chris Cooper won for
Well,
Best Supporting
Yeah,
Actor.
for listeners at home, Meryl Streep is Meryl Streep. And she
Our
doesn't
good
need
friend.
us to massage her ego. Although, to her credit, she was in Death Becomes Her.
Friend of the show.
Which was amazing.
Right?
Well,
And Chris Cooper for real though.
Oh, yeah.
He's always pretty. He's even good in shit. Like he always kind of stands out.
Yeah.
You know, like and
Yeah.
especially in this one since they've got him like he's all like in character and disguised. You know, it's kind of like a not necessarily a Johnny Depp turn, but it's more But like he was like October Sky and A Time to Kill were turds, but like
Yeah.
he did his job. Cheeky Huts, that's what we use them for.
That's right.
well,
This ain't a pissing contest.
Yeah.
when he was talking about losing the Oscar and Streep and Cooper winning, he said, quote, Meryl was great and Chris was great and they got their Oscars, but cool. It's all good. They were brilliant in the movie, but it was the most challenging thing I've ever done. So
And if nothing else, we salute him.
yeah, I thought it was fucking
like-
great, but
This is pretty much the exact opposite of Gone in 60 Seconds,
yes.
where it's a movie where he's actually present. He actually has a character or
He
two.
tried.
Yeah, it's like oh my god, it's like he's on again. It's almost like early 90s Cage.
But he's no Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody, you sack of shit.
At the Oscars, I really hope that when the cameras go off, that they bring out everyone who lost and put them on stage, and the rest of the audience starts singing for "He's a Jolly Good Fellow," and then they all get like a sympathy clap.
I thought you were gonna say
Actually,
they throw shit at them.
No,
Like,
what happens
laugh.
is they try to get them to sing the Oscar theme song, and then younger Morgan Freeman comes up and says, "You are all expelled."
All of you.
Catherine Keener is back as Catherine Keener.
And it's funny because in the special thanks at the end of the credits, or toward the end of the credits, she's referred to as Keener, just Keener.
The Keener. thank you.
Yeah, like the Cage.
So talking about the cast, they wanted Tom Hanks for this at one point.
Oh Jesus!
That would make sense.
I'm glad they did not.
Oh my God,
And they
can you
wanted
imagine?
John Turturro for Chris Cooper.
Oh,
They wanted John Turturro to play LaRoche,
I like.
and I love John Turturro.
Yeah, me
you
too.
know.
But I just don't. I can't see him. And
I don't think he would have done that at all. It just would have been really comical in a bad way.
Yeah, well, the Tom Hanks and Turturro version, it's like, yeah, that would be a very different movie. I feel like.
Oh, they were also
Yeah.
considering Joaquin Phoenix for
Oh.
LaRouche or LaRouche, however you say it.
Oh yeah, I could say that. You know, this is this came out. This is another one I saw in the theater. Actually, this is around the time where like all the Cage movies I saw in the theater. And so like, and we were in college. We had nothing to do. You know, it's not like we had to study. You know, so
Yeah.
so we're like watching all these like early 2000s movies.
God knows we didn't study.
We just drank a fuckload of Southern Comfort.
Watched a lot of shitty movies.
And you invented the chocolate Adrian beverage with the Bacardi 151 and the Baileys, and I vomited it all up in front of the library building.
So fucking good though.
I was at breakfast the next day. I watched it yet, mopping up my pile of vomit.
Adrian was just like he taught me what it was to boot and rally back in college.
I figured there's no sense doing anything halfway.
You either go full ass, not half ass.
Yeah, it's like no, fuck it. This is college. This is liquor. These things go together. We're gonna do this. But yeah, but back to the movies. So Adaptation like it comes really early in a few of those like hip like early to mid 2000s kind of movie trends, like.
Mm-hmm.
Because the movie, I don't think like consciously was attempting any of this, but there's a lot of things that sort of like the part the shot from inside the car when LaRoche's mother dies, when they're backing up and they have it from inside the car when they back out and all of a sudden they get T-boned by the other vehicle that's coming right at you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so all of a sudden all the movies were doing that, like The Forgotten did that. Like there were a fuckload of them. It's like that shot was just in every movie all of a sudden. The casting Brian Cox, like Brian Cox had been around for a long time. He's the original Hannibal Lecter, you know, but like all of a sudden he pops up like is this oily guy? He's in like X-Men 2. He's like in the Bourne Identity movies and stuff like that. By the way, Brian Cox was actually cast because the real Robert McKee requested him.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's great.
Isn't it though?
Well, I know
It was a joy.
And God help you if you use voiceover narration. Don't bring in a Deus Ex Machina. You just gotta love how fucking meta all this shit is.
Yeah, totally.
Like, you know, in a non-stupid way.
Well, in a 2015 interview with GQ, Cage said that he recorded interviews, like he spent hours interviewing Charlie Kaufman, and he recorded the interviews on a tape recorder, and by Kaufman's request, he burned all the tapes later with like he poured kerosene all over them and just lit them up. But
It's all very, very personal.
he said it was
I burned the tapes, but not the digital copies.
but you can't burn the tapes in my heart.
I bought the tapes in the gift store. That's what I gave him.
Not yet,
That'll
Donnie.
make sense in our next episode.
But he said, quote, "It was probably the most acrobatic challenge as a thespian I've ever had, and I'm not sure I could ever do it again." But he was talking about like how he had twice as much dialogue as anybody else because, you know, he has two characters. And just goes on about like how difficult it was.
The push in the bush.
Push in the bush.
Oh, you ham.
But
oddly enough, though, I'd like to point out this is actually not the first movie written by a screenwriter about the screenwriter's difficulty in adapting, like for real adapting material. Because there was Charles Grodin in 1978 was assigned to adapt Joy of Sex for Paramount Pictures.
Oh shit!
Which is another unadaptable book, by the way. They just wanted to use the title, but he's like, what the fuck, you know? And so he decided that the only way to come at it was to write a screenplay about the difficulty in adapting it for a screenwriter. And Paramount Pictures is like, thank you, but fuck you.
Nobody
But the
tells
screenplay
Charles
he
Grodin to go
wrote
fuck himself.
In 1985 became a movie called Movers and Shakers with Walter Matthau.
Oh.
And in that one they change it up a little bit. They change joy of sex to joy in sex because non-copyrighted. But it's a box office bomb. I have not actually seen it, and it's not well remembered. But like, it's interesting that like something similar does exist. Although I imagine it did not approach the the levels that this one did. No offense to Charles Grodin.
For those who aren't
Ahead of his
familiar, for those who aren't familiar with adaptation, it's really kind of like loosely, sort of, kind of like based on Charlie Kaufman's experience, because he was asked to adapt the book The Orchid Thief into a movie, and he just couldn't figure out how the fuck to do it. And so he wrote himself in and created a really awesome story about it.
It's kind of adorable. There's a scene where he's going to his agent talking about how the book has no story, and he actually quotes a New York Times review.
Yeah.
And it's like, and there actually was a lot of critical reaction like that to the book. It's like, this is kind of inflated. There's a lot of digression,
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it's fine, it's just, I think it's adorable that the movie that's technically adapting that book, also is pointing out the vast criticisms of the book, possibly the problems with the book.
And also
He just kind of pulled a Hunter S. Thompson. It's like, we want you to cover this race and write 4 pages. What are these 200 pages? Like, I'm writing a book. Fuck you.
Well, fuck. If you go the Hunter S. Thompson method, anything could become interesting. I've read his articles. He made football interesting, and I couldn't give 2 shits about football or any other sport. It's like, if somebody's personality is bigger than the subject they're covering, all of a sudden it's worth reading about, or watching.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, for those who do not know, Kaufman does not have a twin brother. He just made him up. Just like Donnie made me up.
I don't exist.
There's that great fucking theme running throughout. We're at the beginning where they're talking about how they want him to Tilda Swinton is all like, hey Charlie Kaufman, you're the guy. We want you to adapt this book, and he's like, yeah, I want to do a commitment to reality. None of those movie type things in it. And so he becomes obsessed with a real person, Susan Orlean. And he is annoyed to no end by his fictional brother. And by the end of the film, that has reversed, where he's come to appreciate fiction, and Susan Orlean is a sad old drug addict to him. It's like, you fat bastard! Shut up, lady.
Who gets addicted to like a drug that you snort?
They make this powder out of this orchid. It's almost like William S. Burroughs, with that whole like drug theme.
You extract it from the rare ghost orchid.
Yeah.
So yeah, she just becomes an addict,
Linda,
and poses for porn.
I can see your sadness. It's lovely.
Adulterous addict.
I want to be an
She's
ant.
keeping something from her husband. Maybe she's a lesbian and doesn't know how to tell him.
Those were some damn fine binoculars to see that computer screen from that far away.
It is still a movie. Well, that's the thing. I love how at the end he breaks all the rules from the screenwriting course and does all the Hollywood shit. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, no, some people were like, I don't get the ending. I don't get the like Mike Clark with USA Today. It's all like, it's too smugly superior to like.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
It's like, oh, okay, so I guess a movie about a sad guy wanking smacks of intellectualism to you, you fucking asshole.
That's that New York sense of humor.
Boy, have I got a movie for you.
I like movies with helicopters and boat chases. I don't like people I can relate to. Fuck you. It's like, oh yeah, Mike Clark.
It's like, I hope you like Betty White shaking water in a bathtub as she goes at herself like she's starting a lawnmower, because that's what you're getting.
I would watch the shit out of that.
So, two more credits on this one before I let that drop. We got another Carter Burwell score, the Coen Brothers guy. And we got Lance Accord for the cinematographer, who shot like all the Spike Jonze's stuff. And Buffalo 66 for Vincent Gallo. And that complete piece of shit, Lost in Translation.
Boo.
Speaking of wanking.
I don't know. Wasn't oh no, I'm thinking of the wrong movie.
What movie you're thinking of?
I was thinking Stranger Than Fiction. I was thinking like, no, that was
I never actually saw that, although I remember the trailer would come on when I was at the video store, and I was thinking, like, I might watch that, but I feel like the movie wants me to watch it too badly, and this earnestness is putting me off.
It's like, come on, Adrian.
And it's odd that I didn't watch it, actually, because I had free rentals then, and I pretty much saw everything that was on the new release wall.
It's true.
Watch my movie. Watch my movie.
It's like, why does that guy want me to watch this movie? What's he get out of it?
It's got Betty White jilling like a villain.
Oh god.
Oh, speaking of critics, though, Ebert finally had something nice to say.
Yeah, no, he does once in a while. Like, he's kind of like a stopped clock,
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Ebert, I watched part of Beneath the Valley of the Ultravixens
Oh,
this
Lord.
week, the last movie that he wrote for Russ Meyer. And really, Roger Ebert should have stuck with his calling, and instead of being a bitch critic, kept writing exploitation movies, because that's, in fact, what he was good at.
Well, he said, quote, there are often lists of the great living male movie stars, De Niro, Nicholson, and Pacino usually. How often do you see the name of Nicolas Cage? He should always be up there.
No, I feel like seeing this at that time, and appreciating as much as I did, I had this completely inflated view of Nicolas Cage for that period, because there was that brief window in there. Because like in the late 90s, there'd been a couple of good ones, like Bringing Out the Dead and 8mm.
Yeah.
And then you get this one, and there's some shit, of course, all the time because he works so much. But like, and Lord of War was good, and I thought Weatherman was pretty good.
I like the Weatherman.
And like, and because of all that, I'm like, a new Nicolas Cage movie would come out, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to see the new Nicolas Cage movie. The dude's a real actor, and people are like, I don't know, he looks funny, or his movies are dumb. I'm like, well, he's not the Con Air guy, he's this other guy. The trouble is he didn't keep being the guy from those movies. It's not like it's as bad as what Adam Sandler did, where like for a couple of seconds he tried to be an actor and then went back to like a greedy bitch, producing Paul Blart movies and stuff.
Well, and you go from amazing stuff like Bringing Out the Dead and 8mm to shit like Gone in 60 Seconds. I mean, there's always going to be like one of those movies.
I mean, you name. I mean, fuck. I mean, Pacino. We were just fucking talking about Pacino and the fucking turds he'll churn out. I feel like his reputation he's thoroughly destroyed. Robert De Niro, same story.
Now.
You're gonna meet the parents. You're gonna meet the parents again. Yeah.
I feel like
hey, Ben Stiller, meet these parents. It's like, okay, like, fuck Meet the Parents, fuck you, Robert De Niro, fuck you very much. It's like, De Niro and Pacino, you fucking deserve each other. Just get in the elevator and kill each other already. God damn it.
Or fuck.
Oh my god, how hot would that be?
They want to do all the time. The sequel to Righteous Kill, Righteous Spill.
Frankenstein's monster and the devil just going at it.
We're gonna shake the paint off these walls.
Wait, bring back Meryl Streep. It's Frankenstein's monster and the devil wear Prada.
I would watch the shit out of that too.
Okay, so the two of them going at it while Betty White's just banging away. Like, I like this.
Well,
yeah, and you get that gif. Jay Leno sitting there at his desk, just like going, like, "This is marvelous. How you chilling like that? I can't believe it. This makes me want some burritos."
What's going on here? Why am I here? What are you guys doing?
well, there's our face-off.
I personally murdered Johnny Carson. I pushed him off a building. Yeah.
Speaking of, is there any? Do we get any clothes off in this? Is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. Linda, let's speak up. Don't be shy now. Quit being shy.
I want his clothes off. Clothes off.
All of them.
Okay. So this was amazing because you get a pair of Judy Groobs, you get a pair of faked Meryl teats, and you get Chris Pooper.
Are you proud of that?
I am.
Are you
I
really
am.
proud of that?
I am. Yes.
I
Yeah.
love the bit at the end where they catch him looking in at him like down in the Everglades, and they pull him inside. Chris Cooper's naked. It's like, hey man, who's gonna play me?
Don't
And
mind
she's
my
stoned
cock
out
in
of her
your face.
gourd. She's like, wait a minute. We can't have people find out about this. We gotta kill him. And I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome.
I don't really
That was a
choose
great-
the actors.
That was a great twist. I was just like, when did this movie become cocaine?
No, this is what I fucking love about this. Like, you get all this insane meta shit in there. Like, it's utter madness, and yet it never indulges in the magical realism. You know,
Yeah.
it never does that. Like the fourth wall is shattered, and yet it's all somehow done like within these constraints. Like, I mean, I've always liked this movie, but it's been years since I've seen it. You know, and like it's like a lot has changed for me like since I last saw it. And I'm like, and like looking at it again, I'm like, holy fuck, it really was good.
Who would have thunk that?
My mind is fucking blown right now.
It's a great fucking movie, and I'm really with you on that. Like, once it starts
And
going
even-
off the rails,
Even if
it's
you're
like,
not focusing on the broad picture of it, like we're going right now, like just like all the like, there's all these individual scenes that would work in any movie, like the part where Susan Orlean's like shitheel friends, or you know, are all talking about. They're all making fun of LaRoche, you know. It's like, so the van, she's like, shut up, you know, and like they're having their yuppie dinner party, you know. And, you know, or the bits in the van, you know, between Susan Orlean and LaRoche, you know, where he's kind of talking. It's like, that's how much fuck fish.
And I love the ocean.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, originally, of course, the writer Susan Orlean, she was hesitant to approve the
very
script. Of course.
apprehensive about this. She read it and she was like, "Oh God, no! What are you thinking? You're all crazy." She came to appreciate it later, but like her initial reaction was like, "What the fuck?"
Well, and I think at the time, Meryl Streep said it was her favorite script she's ever read.
Okay, that's to her credit, actually.
Yeah.
But fuck,
And you
I
get
love
the
this
whole
movie.
bit. The whole bit with his fictional brother Donald Kaufman, like wanting to be a screenwriter too, and watching this retarded thriller called The Three. You know, about you know, a cop who's looking for a killer who has a lady in prison in the basement, and he's a split personality, and he's all three people.
Adrian, you can't use that word. That's our word.
What, basement?
The R word.
So, did you guys know that there really is a book and movie called The Three that came out after this?
Oh God, I'm
And-
not surprised.
And it is actually about this. It's a Christian thriller.
Oh Jesus.
Okay, I saw it when it came out.
Literally.
And I'm like, they didn't
yeah.
do this for real, did they? And it's like about a guy pursuing this mad bomber, and he has a girlfriend who's kidnapped by the bomber, and we figure out there's no girlfriend, and there is a bomber, but it's all him.
Jesus Christ.
You know, you keep saying it. I really do want to see a movie where we have Jesus Christ playing a rookie detective, and he's like just starting out. He's got to solve the mysteries in the Roman Church.
And Satan, the son of Satan, is like the like his partner.
Isn't that
Yeah,
just Smallville?
and it's like he's trying to hide from everyone that he's doing these things, like these miracles. Like, Jesus, get in here! We need to solve the mystery. Who's turning this water into wine? He's like, I don't know, Chief. What am I paying you for?
Do you have Saffron Bird by the Trash Men? Oh my God, you're Jesus Christ. No, I'm not. No, you are. You're Jesus. Okay, I am. Have you heard the word?
God,
See,
don't.
and then
Nope.
you can have him arresting Mary while she's prostituting. He's like, I told you, Mary, don't go out there. I love you. I love you too, Jesus.
But you know I live by the law.
What's this on my desk? It's my badge. I'm hanging up.
It was hard taking that badge off, what with all the thorns on it, you know.
And
Speaking of that, Tilda Swinton in Adaptation
Oh.
is basically the devil. She's like the horrible
She
instigator.
really is.
Yeah.
She's like, it's like, so we'd like to option your book, your unadaptable book. Like, what's the joke? It's like, no, really, we think it's really good. And Roche, what a character.
It's like, it's so shitty, but here, we don't care. Money, money, money.
Well, I mean, Hollywood really doesn't care. Let's
No.
be real. You know,
Yeah.
it's like this thing
Yeah.
sold. Yeah, let's make it into a movie. It's a video game that you play on to watch. Like, yeah, ballistic X versus Sever.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I want to argue you, but the moment I found out that they auctioned off all the rights to these Hasbro games,
yeah, that's what I was gonna
like,
say.
we're gonna
like,
get
oh,
a Chutes and Ladders movie.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
the fuck?
This is the thing. It's like Hollywood went and came full circle. It's like you can't even make a joke anymore because like later that
No.
week that'll be the movie. Yeah.
I'd like to
Yeah.
think that Sorry will be like Tron.
Sorry.
Oh.
Oh man, but like no, like the 3 screenplay is also adaptation. You know,
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's like where is he? Where he's doing these car chases, working at a police station in the basement. Well, it's like he's wanking, trying to write.
and one could argue that he's the same character as his brother, and the
Right.
I mean, one could even argue that he's also either the LaRouche or Orlean character.
What the hell are we doing having this movie on our
LaRouche.
podcast? We don't do good movies.
I know.
This is so wrong right now.
I was actually asked that. I'm like, I thought you guys only do bad Cage movies.
Are we doing it wrong? Are we being too thorough? We've got to question our decisions now. Like,
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, even watching this
Oh.
movie just made me feel like standing up in front of the TV with my hands on my hips going, Nicholas Coppola Cage, are you acting? You scamp, you're acting.
it's like, what the hell happened?
We're going to put this movie on the fridge so
It's like
everyone can see.
He's not trying to be Jimmy Stewart. You know, he's not saying, okay, let's ride. Ugh. I feel like my skull's on fire. Ugh. It's like, holy shit.
We are the concerned parents, though, because that's what it comes down to. It's like, Nikki, we like when you did the adaptations. Don't do the Ghost Riders anymore. You don't need to do that.
Well,
Don't call it the industry.
you guys can rest easy because we've got 2 weeks ahead of us of crap. So,
Don't we
Yeah,
always?
all right.
I mean, we've
I've
got
been saving up my tequila.
Matchstick Men and National Treasure.
Fuck your face and your fucking matchstick men, god damn it. Yeah, I saw that one in the theater too. It was like getting kicked in the teeth by a couple of mules. Ridley Scott, wherever you are, I hope your fucking colon's inflamed, you fucking bastard.
Well, at his age.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
God took the wrong one.
Adrian is going on a
Sabbatical?
oh, no, he's going on a vision quest out in the desert to find
That's because
himself.
I'm Matthew Modine.
Exactly.
Oh.
And he's going to be gone for a couple weeks. So we're actually recording National Treasure after this, and we are sparing Adrian the pain of making him watch Matchstick Men
Oh,
again.
thank God.
No, yeah.
Before you two watch Matchstick Men again, though, I would recommend that you both watch David Mamet's House of Games with Joe Montana.
I was actually hoping you were going to say
'Cause-
that we both do a bunch of peyote first.
Yeah.
but
Do
I'll
that
take
too.
that.
do a line of Coke, you know, and you know, drink some fucking Mad Dog 2020.
Wait, you
and,
guys
then-
haven't been doing that already?
Well, I mean, I did do my internet search last week on how to buy the drugs, as the kids call
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, you
I
said you
did
were
get
gonna
a
get
few
back to
calls
us.
about that, so we'll see what happens. I just need to find out which ones are the cops and which ones are the actual drug dealers.
Can you
Well,
also
anybody who's online who professes to be under 18, they're the cops.
Can you also, while you're at it, Google Betty White in bathtub, Jillin?
You know,
I will
we
do
do
my
get to
best.
see Rue
Thank you.
McClanahan stripping in a movie, so I mean, anything's
Yay!
Yeah.
possible. Thank you, Hollywood After Dark.
Yes, I've actually got it bookmarked.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And we're going to have a special guest on Matchstick Men if we watch it. That's going to be William Dafoe's penis.
We won't be having Willem Dafoe's penis, but
Hey, Victor, haven't you ever noticed how you never see Willem Dafoe's penis?
That's because he's inside you.
Oh, wait a minute, but we did see it in Antichrist.
all
Thank
the
you, Lost
time.
Watchfire. Fuck it, I make no apologies. I'm gonna go watch that in Human Centipede and fuck y'all.
Go see The Lighthouse, everybody.
You were
it's
saying-
amazing.
We're in the cut?
We will not be guesting the penis. No, actually, we will have our friends from bottom of the stream over guesting on that. So, huzzah!
Okay, we'll ask them to watch House of Games too, because y'all need to see the good version of that bullshit that was Matchstick Man.
One of us will.
Donnie will.
When he better.
Well, thank you for putting me under the
Although,
bus. In
you
that
know,
case, why don't you start off our face-off?
I'm too busy
statement
watching
my lawyer
porn.
prepared. I am not advocating David Mamet the director, but you know, like just saying though.
Mehmet.
Mamet make
You're
movies.
David Mamet.
So, y'all ready for face off?
Oh, I got
Oh,
I
yeah.
got your face off right here. Fuck. Okay, here
Okay.
goes. Okay, so for the Kaufman brothers, the two Jeremy Irons from Dead Ringers, and
Alright.
also for Meryl Streep and Carol Seymour, you bring in the two Betty Davises from Dead Ringer, singular. And then for Chris Cooper, Rissa Fons.
Hey.
Or maybe with that Gerard Depardieu. I don't know if he can do a different accent.
More like Gerard Depardieu. Oh, we have fun here.
He was in Babylon AD. He will never live it down.
No.
So I had as let's see, as Charlie / Donald Kaufman, I have William Marshall. That's right, Blackula. And
And Scream Blackula Scream.
and Scream Blackula Scream, most importantly. And
Scream Blackula Scream! Jump out of the screen! You hung up for the blood that's all around!
and
Thank you, Ace Free.
and while we're in the Cage's Kiss time machine, I have for Susan, Pam Grier, who needs no introduction.
Pamela Greer.
And for the part of John, I have Chris Cooper's character, I have Richard Roundtree.
Would you be calling this Bladaptation?
Yes.
All right, then I'm all for it. And get Gordon Parks Jr. to direct, or maybe Melvin Van Peebles, and there you go.
That would work.
And then we would see penis.
Yes.
And for those of you who do not know, Richard Roundtree is Shaft.
He's the only Shaft, okay? There's no other Shaft than Richard Roundtree. Fucking
Damn
goddamn
right.
spin-off, goddamn.
Damn right.
Oh, God.
Who you got, Don
Talking
Don?
about Shaft.
Well, for Susan Orlean, we have Cher. For Jean LaRoche, we have Ron Jeremy. For Valerie Thomas, we have Natalie Portman. And for the Kaufman brothers, this is very important because they're also going to be releasing it under their titled company. Under Donald Kaufman, we have Joe Fleashaker, and Charles Kaufman is played by Lloyd Kaufman.
Yes.
It will be released under Troma.
Yes.
Oh, hells yeah.
Yes, because he would cast Joe Fleashaker as his brother.
I'd just like to say that Tromeo and Juliet is one of the best things that ever happened.
Couldn't agree more.
Hashtag where's their Oscar?
Yep. And, if you're a pretentious bastard, and I know you are, I mean, they also made My Dinner with Andre, so fuck you.
That's right.
Dude, Lloyd Kaufman is a friend of Toys Were Us's podcast. Our friends over at Toys Were Us.
Maybe he'll be a friend of ours one day.
Maybe
All I
someday.
want for Christmas is a Kaufman kiss. And then we will have a Merry Christmas too.
Too bad if we're not in New York. We could kind of just jet over and see him.
Someday.
And just throw copies of our like mixtape through his window, tied to a brick.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, of course, that mixtape includes some Ben Folds 5, no doubt.
Yeah, now see, that would get Nick Cage on this podcast. He's like, I appreciate you going analog for this.
So, in my research for this role in this film about the Spanish Inquisition, I did actually torture and kill several people.
Oh.
That's the complete opposite. I thought you were going to say in my preparation for this podcast. I went and listened to several others.
Well, we try doing that sometimes too, but I'd rather just go watch the best of the worst instead.
Yeah.
In my preparation of this podcast, I just obliterated my genitals. Just obliterated them.
You're taking a PCP, you can punch yourself in the nuts really hard. It's surprising.
Nicolas Cage learning to play Adrian and replacing him for one episode. That is our Christmas
Oh my
special.
god. Well, you know,
A Cage for Christmas.
On Lifetime Network.
so Donnie, have you had bad luck?
Oh my god. It just sounds like Adrian.
Were y'all able to find any sort of wisdom in all this?
Oh my god.
There are no rules in the world, Donald, just principles.
Yeah, and just go back to the beginning of time and you'll get your bearings.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm taking a quote directly from him. You are what you love, not what loves you. But also, if you do drugs, make sure you do the drugs and the drugs don't do you.
And,
also,
furthermore,
all waitresses
Malkovich
at
then
Denny's will show you their tits.
Yeah, if you're real nice.
She's gonna be right back with that pie. If you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah.
It's an extra large slice.
Oh yeah. I want me some key lime pie. That sounds good. When's that gonna happen? Fuck the waitress. I want the pie.
Yeah, Adrian's version has her opening her shirt and there's pie.
I just, in the best of all possible worlds, that's what happens.
So I guess this is a time where I say, please, please, please help us out by getting the word out there about Cage's Kiss. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your proctologist.
Tell your cellmate.
Tell your cellmate, yeah. Tell your soulmate.
Tell your cellmate, I love you.
Tell your warden.
Tell your grandma if we haven't hit her up for sexting already. And please listen, follow, rate, and review Cage's Kiss, especially on Apple Podcast and Podchaser. Check us out. We're on YouTube. It's pretty awesome. We have a lot of Adrian's awesome art on there. You can find Cage's Kiss on Facebook and on Twitter at Cage's Kiss. You can visit our website at cageskiss.com, and you can write to us at any time at cageskiss@gmail.com. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to our friends over at The Fanboy and the Hater for giving us maybe our most awesome review yet. Also,
I want to talk to the hater right now.
You are the hater, dude.
My God, it was me all along.
And also, while you're at it, check out my other podcast, Bed Nubs and Broomflicks, where we cover witches in stories and history, and I cover heroic animals in history in our favorite familiars segment.
Linda, I do believe that Pam Grier played a witch in Scream Blackula Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Is it all a nightmare or just a part of your dream? Scream, 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 Blackula scream.
Would you like to guess that week when we cover that? Adrian, what you got going on?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm a little punchy because it's been a long work week. I got a new job, and I got my DeviantArt under Leo the Fox on DeviantArt.com. That's all you really need to know about, and my YouTube under AA Smith. If God willing, I'll get more shit on there. And God help me, because I've got more Nicolas Cage movies to watch. And Donnie.
I am still Unreal Goals on Twitter, The Boy Who Blew on RedTube, and I'm also starting a podcast called Dicks and Chicks, where we review porn films, sex toys, lubricants, and for our premiere episode, we'll be going to the Washington State Correctional Facility to dig deep and get down to the bottom of all this sex that's going on in there.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I'm still waiting for you to turn in your Futa fanfic of Adaptation.
Well, I just got to make sure first if he's a lemur or a fox, and I think Nick Cage is more of a fox.
Can I have a special segment on there where I review like funky sex toys on Wish?
That could work.
Long story short, I got no genitals no more.
I ain't got no genitals no more.
The goal of my podcast is I will find how I feel comfortable.
Oh, hey, while I'm at it, do you like stickers? Do you like buttons? Do you like bonus material? Sure, we all do. But how can you access these for Cage's Kiss, you ask? Well, you could go on to Cage's Kiss's Patreon page. That's how. You could become a producer and help us get better. Maybe.
I was hoping you were going to say pretentious, but yeah, that works.
No, I think we got that covered.
Ba, 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 ba. I want to be pretentious.
If you give us $500, I will knit you a beanie cap and a special Starbucks cup so you can feel extra special when you carry both. And talk about the podcast that you get your information from.
Yeah, I produce a podcast. It's called Cage's Kiss. Maybe you've heard of it.
You might not have. It's pretty highbrow.
It's a lovely little
Yeah, we
indie
actually
podcast.
don't record inside Starbucks. We record behind our Starbucks.
In the
So,
dumpster.
Yeah.
That's where you could find us.
With all the rest of the trash.
Although we will be recording National Treasure soon, now that we're all good and toasty. Next week, you'll be hearing from us when we cover Matchstick Men with our friends, the lads over at Bottom of the Stream.
Be brave, dear listeners. Be brave.
And until then, Susan Orlean killed a kid. She shot a kid.
Well, he had a ray gun that looked real enough. I mean, she was stoned out of her gourd at the time, and she has a right to defend herself.
God damn.
How about a riddle? When you blow me, I get bigger. And the tighter you wrap your lips around me, the quicker I enlarge. What am I?
Adrian's ego.
No. It's this dick. Actually, no. It's a balloon.
Oh my God, he's got a dick! Ew!
Cage.
A penis.
And our podcast is over forever.
Yay.
Bye!
Cage, 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 cage. I could
Hey,
eat a
hey, hey, Linda.
What?
You go like this. Go like that. It's good. Okay. Donnie,
No.
Donnie, go
No.
like.
Okay.
Oh no, it's okay. That's okay, but like try to make it
Oh.
more like yeah.
God damn it, Donnie!
That's better. No, that's better. But try more like come on, Linda. Let's show 'em how. Come look at.
Okay.
Come on, Linda,
You
let me hear
stupid
you.
fucking whore!
No, God damn it! Come on, one more try, you guys. One more try.
Okay.
All right. I know we can get this.
Okay,
I know we
okay.
can get this. All right.
Okay.
Deep breaths. Okay. And. Imagine me and you. I do. I think about you day and night. Together.
Yeah.
Ba, 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 ba,
Oh my god.
How is the weather? I mean, you were so passionate about turtles. You know, how could you just turn around and not anymore?
Yeah.
Can you just turn around?
Bright eyes.
Don't turn around to dear commissars in town.
Turn around, Bright Eyes.
Peach. I could eat a peach for hours. Please. Kiss me.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Caitlin.
And we're the hosts of Eat Crime, a podcast full of delicious mysteries.
You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Eat Crime and on Facebook, Eat Crime Pod.
Here's a few examples of what you'll hear.
Laurencia and Bambi Bembenak.
Do what now?
And he had like secretly taken that copy. I don't know why.
Oh, I know what.
To murder her.
For murder.
And I was like, I can't imagine a mom naming their kids
Dante
Dante and
and
Dante. We're not in a satanic cult. So.
Yes, I don't know. Let's make that abundantly clear. She seems like provocativity. Is that a word?
She provocativity. Which, I mean, what a businessman.
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm
Murdered
saying.
people
like,
and got paid for it.
It's both true that there is a Conjuring 2, and Conjuring 2 is true.
Valerie, get out of here.